Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to Strange Talk with Doc. Let's talk about a couple of things before we get on to the regular show. One of them is I don't know. I know all the rules, but the rules do not know me. And also, I've learned through the course of my life that I do not play nice with others. Now, to get this right out of the way, I'm not above the rules. So I have to learn all the rules. I'm not special. I believe in the law of averages. I believe in regulations. I believe in a code of ethics, right and wrong, and being proud of your conduct. I choose positive over negative, but I don't allow people to get comfortable with me. And the reason that might be is because some people might say it's the short man syndrome, the Napoleon complex type thing. But I've learned through my life, rules don't apply. You're asking for life to be fair with you, and the only fairs that you will ever really know is state fairs. That's where you get those shitty fried foods. That's where you go see fucked up animals, uh, things of that nature. You might get on some rides, but life itself is not fair. I was a pretty good athlete when I was a kid. Well, I'm going to say I was even better than a pretty good athlete. I could play all sports. I wasn't great at basketball. But being the height that I wasn't picked a lot to play because people had preconceived notions that maybe he's too short to do this, he's too short to do that. So I allowed people to judge me in that manner because it didn't really matter. I was glad that I was built a little different. And with the complex or quote unquote complex that I developed during this period in time in my life, I pushed people to the side. I learned to be very quiet, observe, not say very much, say almost nothing. I took in information like a computer. I maintained this information. I used this information to learn to be a cutthroat type individual. If you step to me with some nonsense, I shorted it, cut it quickly because I would have ammunition. You gave me the bullets for my gun, and I would then use that same gun and bullets back on the person who came at me. And I was a bit of a fire starter. I had no problems taking on somebody bigger than me, stronger than me, who perceived they were bigger, stronger, and better than me because I would love to cut them down to my size. I talked about this on a previous podcast. You level the playing field. You do whatever it takes to level the playing field. I'm not trying to punch you in the face. I'm not trying to punch you in the nose. I'm trying to punch you in your fucking windpipe. I want to take everything that you got out of you and put you in such fear that you don't know left from right, you don't know up from down. So I played to keep each and every time. I was around a lot of people who were a lot like me. I ain't no tough guy per se, but I don't like to be fucked with. I never liked to be fucked with. I still don't like to be fucked with. Um, but I learned during the course of this time that even if you held up to certain codes and you held up to certain standards, you wouldn't get paid back the same. And it's all right because that's the thing called life. Just because you treat everybody fairly doesn't mean anybody will treat you fairly. Just because you don't judge other people don't mean you won't be judged. Just because you don't take advantage of people does not mean people will not be trying to take advantage of you. So you have to be on your P's and your Q's. You have to dot those I's and cross those T's at all times. You have to be vigilant. Life says be vigilant, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of those who are in your life. Don't trust if you can help it. If I could go back and talk to myself, I would even be quieter in my youth than I already was. And trust me when I tell you, I didn't speak much. I did not speak much. I didn't get to know nobody, and I didn't allow anybody to really get to know me. And as an older man, I still don't know too many people, and not too many people know me. But I'm fine with that because I always am willing to pay for the consequences of my actions. There's cause and effect. And the cause is if you push people away, the effect will be that you will not have a lot of people around you. I keep my circle so damn tight that sometimes I'm not allowed in it. Okay, that's a joke, people. You can't keep your circle so tight that you're not allowed in your own circle. It's just a figure of speech. So don't take me literal on that. So you might know somebody who has the short man syndrome, or what they call them, Napoleoncomplex. And then you have to think about, what did that person go through? But they always picked last to play sports and could have been the best fucking player. You know what I mean? I learned to do things because I had no choice but to learn to be adequate or above adequate in everything that I did, because I was judged as I walked in the room. See, now as an adult, it really didn't affect me because I had a presence now. Learned to develop a presence where I didn't get fucked with, and I did not fuck with people because I never, and let's get this straight. Like I said, if you consider a tough guy to be a thug, I am not your tough guy. I never wanted what was in somebody else's wallet. I never wanted what was on around somebody else's neck. I never wanted somebody else's money. I didn't crave other people's possessions. I'm not running up in your house taking anything that does not belong to me. I am not trying to fuck somebody else's woman that I know. I mean, it's just, these are things that just will go against my code. And so it kept my name out of people's mouths. I was allowed to live and let live. But the rules are so funny in life. They're so weird. Some people are held down by the same rules that should build them up, held down by the same rules that should allow them chances. And then we sit back and we cry about these rules and we cry about these regulations. So what, you know the rules? The rules might not know you. And like I said, that can include the rule, the law of averages. That is a rule. It's supposed to be a rule that the law of averages, every once in a while you win. Maybe you always fucking lose, or maybe you perceive that you always lose. And that's just a part of life, sir. It's just a part of life, man. There's ebbs and flows, there are seasons. There will be seasons where you will take winning for granted, and then you won't even fucking remember it because you're on such a losing streak, you forgot about the season of winning. So be fair and honest to that. You know, it's not going to be easy. Life is never going to be easy. It's how you make the road, how you pave the road. Did you pave your road and you could have had smooth tar and you put rocks in the fucking tar mix? You could have done it to yourself. Or did you make sure that the ground was smooth and clean and clear and there was no debris there? And then you laid the road. So we have to take some responsibility about how some of the things in our lives turn out. Now, I was going to go into some other aspects of this, but as my mind is clicking on it now, it's no need up to bring up some of the negative reactions that I have, as opposed to knowing what the rules are and the rules not knowing me. But this is just to put a seed in your ear that maybe you're looking at life and you're saying certain things are supposed to fall to you. Imagine that key word, supposed to fall to you. Why should it fall to you? What did you do that was so extraordinary that said it must be this way for you? You demanded that you're the greatest of great. You're the perfect one. That things can't go against you. It's how you conduct yourself when shit is coming against you, is how life will treat you really fairly. That's where you find your fairness, in how you deal with adversity. And that's all I want to say about that, because I don't want to go into a long, drawn out detail about this. But you can know all the rules, but the rules might not know you. And you don't have to play nice with others, because social media is a nasty, ugly place. Every time I join a group in social media, I might have a 1 week life expectancy in the group before I say something or somebody says something that I read or see posted that just turns me off to the whole situation. So I avoid people. That works for me. It does not work for everybody. I understand that. A lot of people are social and they need social interactions. I'm not a person who really needs social interactions like that. I like to keep it tight. So let's move on. So this ex-officer, Preston Hemphill, this fat fucking Pat piece of shit, white cop, who was sitting there. You seen him. He's the one stringing together the taser. He has been fired. He was fired. And let me see. These three EMTs. Desmond Mills Jr., Justin Smith. No, 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 no. Those are bitch ass cops who were Omega Psi Phi. It was Fire Lieutenant Driver Michelle Whitaker. It was also Jermichael Sandridge and Robert Long. Robert Long and Sandridge were the EMTs. The fire engine driver was Lieutenant Michelle Whitaker. They did not provide adequate patient assessment to Tyrese Nichols. I'm still calling for the firing of Police Chief Sherilyn C.J. Davis. I believe that she should fall on the sword for this. It's amazing how she hasn't said 3 words since the initial report of telling us like a horror movie was going to be debuted. She has kept it pretty quiet. Now, we also have an incident where a third grade girl, a 9-year-old, was being beaten up by 2 boys on a school bus. You might have school-aged children, and I feel for you. I feel for you worrying about their safety. These 2 boys were animals. They are animals. I don't give a fuck about color. Color does not matter in this situation. A 9-year-old boy pummeling a girl. He knows, well, she's 9. I don't even know how old this fucking boy is. He should know better. He should know when to let go. Even if this girl did something to offend him or he thought he was protecting somebody, at some point in time, you must back off. And for the other little boy to think that it was all right to jump in, I mean, are they not taught at home that you don't lay hands on a girl, especially when a person gives up? I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was a young boy. I might have been about 10, 11 years old. My cousin came out of the house running, screaming, please help me. This boy's bothering me. So I got on this boy. I got on this boy and I got on this boy bad. And like I said, I'm a fire starter. I'm a pretty vicious kid. So I'm beating this boy. I am beating this boy, and this boy he's cowering. He's covering up. He's crying. And I'm going to town on him. So I finally stop, and I don't notice, but my father is coming up the block, and he had witnessed this. So I'm thinking, my father's going to be very proud that I can handle myself with my fist. My father said, are you fucking crazy? Do you realize that you made a lifelong enemy? When that boy gave up, that's when you were supposed to stop. When that boy gave in, that's when you were supposed to stop, son. You just showed me viciousness that I didn't even know my son had inside him. And you know what? It took me and my father until I was an adult to really talk about this again, because he always looked at me and he knew part of my reputation as being a person who didn't mind putting his hands up, that what he had seen was not normal. And he didn't like that it came from him, this abnormality. And so these parents of these boys now have to deal with that situation with their child and correct this behavior. So Laverne and Shirley Starr, Cindy Williams, she died at the age of 75. She was Shirley. Laverne and Shirley was a pretty big shows back in the days. Is it watchable now? Hell no, it's not watchable. The show is horrible in today's standards, but it's what we had back then. And Bobby Hall, the Golden Jet, 84, he passed away. He's a Hall of Famer, Stanley Cup winner. He's the brother of Brett Hall. Most people know Brett Hall more than they know Bobby, but they're both very famous. And Melinda Dillon, the mom in Christmas Story and Close Encounters, she died at the age of 83. Laban Lanny / the genius Lanny Poffo, he has passed away at the age of 68. He was a big WWE wrestler back in the 80s. He's the brother of Macho Man Randy Savage. His father was also a wrestler. If I remember correctly, they were pretty big in Memphis, the Poffos. They might have had their own wrestling organization. But you remember Laban Lanny. He's famous for other things anatomy-wise that I'm not going to get into here. And the Washington and Dolphins and also the Chargers executive and Hall of Famer Bobby Beathard. He helped lead Washington to 4 Super Bowl wins. He led San Diego to their only win. And let me correct this. He led Washington to 3 Super Bowl wins. He helped lead the Dolphins to their undefeated 1972 season. He went to a total of 10 Super Bowls, 10 conference championships. He passed away at the age of 86. Now, today is 2/6/2023. I guess I shouldn't date the show, but I just did. It's Black History Month. If you have not studied up on anything due to African American Black culture, please give yourself a chance to pick up a book, read, do some Wikipedia, get some form of Black history education. Black people are more than just slaves who were in America and went through civil rights. We have done some things. We have done some big things. We have done some things outside of sports and entertainment. We are not just Beyonce and Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali and MLK. Look up our history, especially if you're a Black person. When your child asks you, Mommy, Daddy, could you tell me something Black history wise? Don't be caught off guard. You should have something in your pocket that you could pull out, meaning in your pocket of your brain, that you can give them as knowledge. Actor Viola Davis is an EGOT, people. She won a Grammy last night. I did not watch the Grammys, but I heard about Ms. Viola Davis's win. So congratulations to her. And for those of you who do not know what the EGOT is, that is the Grammy, the Tony, the Oscar, and the Emmy. She now has all the big ones. And as you know, we're in award season. I'm not big on award season, but it is what it is. UFC had a card Saturday. It was Sergey Spivak versus Derek Lewis UFC card from the Apex Center. I was not a big fan of this card. And by the way, Sergey Spivak won with an arm triangle choke in the first round. I did not really realize this until I started watching. I was wondering, why were the guys wearing these weird shorts? They were wearing these Roads to the UFC shorts. And come to find out, 90% of the fights were actually based on a show from Singapore where it was like, I guess, their version of Dana White looking for a challenge. And these were the championship bouts on this road to the UFC fight. So I believe 7 or 8 people were signed due to their wins on this particular card. Some of the fights were very, very good. I'm not going to sit here and say that they were not entertaining. They were very entertaining. One fight I thought was a little controversial. I thought a guy got completely jerked. Zhang Young Lee and Zane was robbed. He won this fight. He controlled the action of this fight from beginning to end. And for him to lose a split decision when one judge literally gave him all 3 rounds, but 2 other judges seen it the opposite way. So he won 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28. And Lee did not deserve this title. They shitted on somebody's dream, but I always believe that Dana gets what Dana wants when it comes to the UFC. Because think about this. Over the weekend, we found out that Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler will coach the Ultimate Fighter 31. And then after that season, they're going to fight. Conor McGregor is, as we've seen him lately, he is huge. It does not look natural. It definitely looks anabolic. And because he was not fighting, he has not been getting tested, but he gets thrown right directly into the mix. I'm just so glad right now that this is not a title fight, but whoever has the title in this class weight should be very leery, because Dana will pull some kind of rabbit out of a hat to make sure that he strips the title holder, and then Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler will be some kind of interim title fight. There's months down the line, and hopefully I'm wrong, but if I am right, I am re-pulling this tape that I said this on 2/6/2023. I hope I don't have to pull it, but I will do so. This weekend, UFC is going to have a fight in Perth, Australia. That's on February 11th. Israel Makhachev is fighting Alexander Volkanovski for the lightweight championship. You also got Yari Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett for the interim flyweight championship. This should be a pretty good card. Luca Bume is fighting Elise Reed. Like I said, this is coming out of Perth. And boy, I like Volkanovski a lot. Makhachev is a damn good fighter. Islam Makhachev is a damn good fighter. So that could be fireworks. I mean, this should be a hell of a test for Alexander. And we're going to go on and hopefully you enjoy that card. So Kyrie Irving asked to be traded from the Brooklyn Nets on Thursday. And by Sunday, the Nets appeased him. They complied. They traded him to the Dallas Mavericks. So now Kyrie Irving is on the same team with Luka Doncic. We will see how that works out. Now, I can't say that I'm big on this, but I'm not angry at this either. There was a brawl between the Magic and the Timberwolves, right? You had the Grizzlies, Dylan Brooks, get into a situation with the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell. Now, the reason that I give a thumbs up to this is I am so tired of NFL, NBA teams being kumbaya and everybody's so in love with everybody and everybody hand jiving and high fiving people on other teams. I grew up in an era where teams against other teams were almost war. You would never hear Micah Parsons actually root for an Eagle. Insanity. It's total insanity. So if there's a little friction in the league, I don't want these guys to get themselves hurt. I don't want them to get themselves suspended for long periods of time, lose money. I don't want this to hurt their fan base. But I do like the fact that teams are going at each other. I don't find anything wrong with it not being an all-friend league. They're supposed to be competing, not just for pride, but they're supposed to be competing for the people in the stands. They're supposed to be competing for a championship, and you can't always do that when everybody's friends. So let me give you the key games for the weeks. You got the Clippers versus the Nets. No KD, no Kyrie. I don't see the Nets winning this game. You got the Mavs. This is tonight. I don't even know if KD is going to play versus the Jazz tonight, but the possibility is there. That's why I put this on the schedule. Tuesday, we got the Bulls versus the Grizzlies. Wednesday, you got the Celtics versus the Warriors minus Steph Curry, who is injured and will be out for a bit of time. No, I'm sorry. That's the 76ers versus the Celtics. It's the Warriors versus the Trailblazers minus Steph Curry. Thursday, you got the Bucks versus the Lakers. The Lakers have been a little bit better over the last 10 games than they have been over the previous 40. So you don't really know. Maybe, and let's not forget, LeBron James is only 36 points away from breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar record for the most scoring. And he wants to do it in LA. And if I'm not mistaken, this is his one and only game in LA this week. He plays other games, but this is the only one he plays in LA. Then you got the Bucks going up to Clippers, so they go on their LA tour. You got the 76ers versus the Knicks. Saturday, you got the 76ers versus the Nets. And then you got the Lakers versus the Warriors and Golden State. No, like I said, no Steph Curry. And then Sunday, you got the Grizz versus the Celtics. Now, my thing is this. If LeBron doesn't get his 36 points Thursday against the Bucks, does he sit out Saturday's game versus the Warriors and wait till he gets back to LA with some fake injury? Well, we'll see. People like to screw the fans over. The Broncos have decided to hire Sean Payton as the head coach. I don't understand why Sean Payton would take this job, but he knows better what's better for Sean Payton and the Payton family than I ever will. I don't know if he can help Russell Wilson with his career at this point in time, but we shall see. And for the third time in a row, the Texans have hired a head coach who happens to be an African American, DeMarco Ryans, who was the defensive back coach or the defensive lineman coach for the 49ers is now the head coach of the Houston Texans. And I'm hoping that they give him a little bit more time than they gave Lovie Smith and the gentleman before him, who were both one and done, 1 year and done. So for the third straight season, like I said, they will have an African American coach. So we had the NFL Pro Bowl this weekend, and it really is a piece of shit system. It's professional football players playing a flag football game. Who can drive a golf ball the longest? Who can make the best catch? I did not watch this nonsense. I mean, the Pro Bowl is to the point where Tyler Huntley, Derek Carr, and Trevor Lawrence were named to the Pro Bowl. It's bullshit. I don't know. Just add this to the NFL honors, do a little film montage, give these guys a plaque or a trophy, a ring, whatever the fuck you want to do. But there's no reason other than to make money to have this Pro Bowl experience. It really does not make sense. Tom Brady announced that he is officially retiring from the NFL. This time I believe him. He has a job waiting for massive money. Hopefully Tom will be good in the booth. If we can get 65% of Tom in the booth that he was on the field, he's going to be outstanding to listen to, but we have to see. And Coach Autumn Lockwood became the fourth woman. She will become the fourth woman to coach in the Super Bowl, but she will be the very first African-American woman to do so. Now, I will not speak to you until after the Super Bowl, which will be featuring the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. As a proud Dallas Cowboy fan, there is no way in the world, under any circumstances, no matter how nice a guy Jalen Hurts comes off as, that I can root for the Eagles. So I'm going to hope that Kansas City wins. I'm not a fan of Kansas City. I hate their fucking fans with the tomahawk chop shit. I find it disrespectful. But I'm going with the lesser of the two evils. And you don't get no more evil than a Philadelphia sports fan, any sport. So fuck you, Philly, and fuck your sports teams. I said that when I lived in New York. I'm saying it now. I mean, I have walked through that city with my Cowboy jersey on. And I mean, they actually sell bibs that say shit like Cowboys suck. I just find it bizarre. I find them to be a very strange town and a very, very strange city. Not that I haven't enjoyed myself. I stayed in Center City 6-7 times on different occasions. I will find their food culture is great. I mean, you find some beautiful food to eat on some of those little avenues, Broad Street, Chestnut, Walnut, you know, Sampson Street, Sea House is a great restaurant. So, but I'm not rooting for Philadelphia to win shit. I just can't do it. Now, next week, our podcast is going to revolve around people want to hear and need to hear BS, nonsense, and stupidity. And if you are a real one, you take the chance that they will ignore you. Once again, people want to hear bullshit. They want to hear nonsense. They want to hear stupidity. But if you are a real one, they might ignore you. And there's reasons for it. And I'm going to give some of what I think are the reasons why people don't want to hear real talk as opposed to bullshit, nonsense, and stupidity. And I'm going to tell you like I tell you each and every time, people. I hope everything is good with you and yours. I hope everything remains splibbing wild with you and yours. And peace also to you and yours.